What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the NVM channel. You probably heard from that clip there, the Z4M Coupe is sounding amazing. Thanks to the guys for making our custom exhaust for it. But today we're adding another £15,000 worth of upgrades to it. So first and foremost, you guys can probably see we have a brand new set of NV Ford's NVF07Ms. Now these are finished in a brushed silver with a clear lacquer, and I think it's going to go beautifully with the Z4, especially with that sapphire black paint. Next up has to be a set of coilovers. The Z4M on track, we've taken it to a couple of track days now, and it is lacking in terms of suspension, but it's probably still on the original shock absorbers, causing the wear and tear anyway. So these are going to be upgraded to BC Racing 32-way adjustment coilovers, and the beauty of the BC Racing is, although you can adjust the preload, you can also independently adjust the height of the actual struts. All the adjustments done from the top, and you've got good camber adjustment too. The rear's a really nice setup as well, and we've got the adjustments just under there, and like I said, 32-way adjustment is going to give us the perfect balance for street driving and track driving this Z4M. Now our next upgrade has to be the braking system. Although we've struggled on track with the stock brakes, we did upgrade the pads, and they do come with M3 CSL discs from the factory, but we have opted for a full Renault Sport Brembo 265 kit. Now this kit was supplied to us by Freaky Parts, shout out to them. They've also sent us out some Performance Brake Solution brake pads, so we should get all the stopping power we need from this car on road and track too. Now you could probably see the carbon fiber there, but we'll get to that in a minute. Next up has to be some Powerflex bushings. Now Powerflex make polyurethane bushings which can outlast the life of the vehicle, and the rear subframe on this seems a bit tired, so we are going to fit some inserts, some anti-roll bar bushes, and also some solid engine mounts. Now the Powerflex engine mounts allows you to adjust the rigidity, so we don't want to increase NVH too much because we want to make it as refined as possible. Next up has to be this beautiful piece of artwork sent to us from the guys at Hamus Racing, renowned for all their carbon fiber plenums. Absolutely immense quality. So we've got to fit this to the S54. Let's see and hear what it sounds like, and we're obviously going to tune it to flames. So the coilovers are now on. We've set some kind of 15mm drop at the front and 10mm drop at the rear, and the brand new brakes are on, just suited to the original 345mm discs. The pad surface area is greater than the OEM, and obviously it's got 3 more pistons. The actual piston size though is actually equates to the same as a single piston, so it should give the same sort of brake pedal, and this is what we need on track, because out of the last track days, what has been the biggest issues? Brakes, right? So guys, make sure you guys upgrade your brakes. Well, that was a near miss. Look at that. The offside engine mount has completely separated. All the fluid that's in there normally has gone, and also the near side is on its way out. So I'm so glad we've upgraded them to the Powerflex ones, and also added the Powerflex insert. Have they seen the wheels? Let me just show you the wheels. Can't wait to see these wheels, mate. OMG. That's crazy. It's literally like OEM Plus, so like the CSL wheels, but a modern take on it. And these calipers, measuring the clearance has been a pain in the ass. We had to get the templates from Freaky Parts, kind of hover it up to the car, make the design for the wheel based on that with the best offset we can. Look at that, absolutely flush. It's a 15mm drop at the front, isn't it? And a 10mm at the rear. I think the fronts could do with coming down a bit more, but until it settles, I don't think it's something that we're gonna drop anymore, because I want to enjoy it. I want to drive this car. But first, we've got to fit this carbon airbox. Just look at it. It's a shame it has to hide in the engine bay, innit? This is where it's going to go. And we have to do some alpha N mapping. Now, alpha N mapping we've covered before on an E46 M3. I'll leave a link up there for you guys to go check that one out. Very similar situation with this, although it's a different ECU. Control is slightly different, but I believe I can get a lot more control from this. So it'll be interesting to see what it makes. Because I think on the dyno last time, completely stock, it made like 316 brake. It was about 5 brake horsepower lower than what we normally see on an S54, but yeah, we've got to deepen the mass airflow sensor, get the air temperature sensor on there, and at the same time, I want to change the TPS because it has been a bit jerky. Once that's all fitted, we can calibrate on the dyno and see what we can get from this beast. So the CSL airbox is now fitted to the Z4M. We've even stuck on a NVM Power vinyl sticker on there. Shout out to Hamus Racing for providing us with this carbon airbox. It's an absolute thing of beauty. Also, the intake air temperature sensor is banged out in the middle of the banks underneath, whereas on the stock box, it sits at the front next to the oil filter housing, so it can heat soak and give a false reading. But yeah, it's time to make a Z4M CSL. Wow, that intake and exhaust combo is an absolute symphony. We've only just turned off the mass airflow sensor, not made any ignition or fueling changes, and it's made exactly the same power it did with the stock airbox and the stock exhaust system. It is a lot warmer today, about 26 degrees, so that's going to equate for the difference. But we can start adding the power with good fueling, good ignition timing, and ultimately good VANOS control. So yeah, let's see what we can do. Well, that's really good to see. 325 brake horsepower, 369 Newton meters of torque. There's no VANOS change at the moment, just purely ignition timing and good fueling. Now, you guys at home are spoiled with all the turbocharged gains that we usually get. This is naturally aspirated and it's highly strung from factory. Yes, it has different cams, slightly less duration than a CSL, but we're going to try and aim for that E46 M3 CSL peak torque and peak power. Oh yeah, burbles are activated. I've just finished up, but I'm not going to share the results yet. I think we need to add some flames. Barbecue season or what? Absolute savage result, 357 brake horsepower, 391 newton meters of torque. I've increased the red line a bit, obviously activated burbles, some flameage, and I've also turned off cold start. Now there's no catalytic converters in it. We can turn off the cold start because there's no cold start sequence needed. I've adjusted the start injection as well, so when you do start it up, it's as clean as stock. With a set of cams, we could probably take it a bit more, about 370, 380 brake horsepower, but I'm absolutely gassed with this. I can't wait to drive it, mate. This is how you spend 15 grand on a classic. Oh, it idles so beautifully, and you can feel the engine mounts. They're a bit stiffer, but at least the engine is staying in the engine bay, unlike the old ones. It would have fallen out. It just feels a bit more darty, like so much more precise. And that exhaust, the valves are off currently. That exhaust is an absolute work of art. It's not drony, you can feel it, you can hear it, and you've got the options with the valves, which is exactly what we need. Because at the last track day that we did, the G80 M3 got booed off because it was too noisy. Oh yeah, we got new brakes, I forgot about that. Yeah, they work. So important to warm these cars up properly before you give it full beans. It runs a 10W60 oil, which is a really thick oil, and it's made for high revving engines, but only at the optimum temperature. But yeah, man, it feels really good. I'm going to try and take this roundabout a bit quicker than I usually do, while still maintaining full control. Oh man, this had no bolly roll. It's completely flat. Feels like a go-kart. I think the wheels help as well. I mean, the wheels are about 4 kilos lighter than the OEM CSL style that was on there, which makes a massive difference to how it feels when turning in acceleration. Obviously, less rotational mass in a forged wheel equates to a quicker car because it's unsprung mass, it's mass that is wasted on the car. I think it's time for some flybys, mate. I'm so glad we invested in some brakes. Absolute savage. It feels miles quicker, and although the peak isn't so much, it's just so much more refined. Every gear's got loads more torque, and it sounds crazy at 8,250 RPM. You don't even get that in a Honda these days. Wow. Well, I think we need to put the valves on. What do you reckon? Bit of valves open time. Huge shout out to Max and B. Yes, these trackpads are a bit squeaky, but what the? We've got a little bridge coming up ahead, mate. It's not quite a tunnel, but it's a bit of an enclosed environment. Oh my! I think I need to change my trousers, mate. I don't think anyone can hear us, mate. Gonna have to turn off these exhaust valves because they're not for every day, definitely not. But they sound absolutely amazing. The car sounds like it's got more cylinders than it has. It's a straight 6, but it sounds like a V10. I still feel the Z4M in general isn't as appreciated as it should be. I think this car is such good value for money for what it is. It's based on an E46 M3, although you've got all the fun characteristics of a small little go-kart. It's crazy. think we're gonna have to take this car to the Nürburgring. Misha, if you're ready, let's go. Those burbles, mate. Pop, 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 pop. I think this car is gonna end up in the NVM vault, you know that. I think it's one to tuck away for a good 20 years and let my kids appreciate it. We've been gone almost an hour. I think we should head back. So I hope everyone enjoyed that vlog. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and leave a comment below as to what you think of our Z4M CSL.